who have really been, they've taken on the title. Every split, there seems to be a team that becomes the split kings, that just can never find a 2-0, but they never get 2-0'd. Soar, they're 1-3-1 on the season, if my memory serves me correctly. So they're trying to kind of get that split king mentality out of there.
And teams like that are one of the biggest threats in LAN environments because you never truly know what to expect out of them. They can bring that unknown X factor in picks and bans in terms of how they start in the draft, where they position their gods at level 1 for invades or even counter invading. And Soar Gaming could basically put a little spork inside some people's tires.
Really, the spork? Sporks are usually plastic. They can't get through a tire.
Have you ever dealt with a metal spork?
No, I've never seen one of those. I don't know if I ever want to. I love this draft early on, though, from Soar Totally. Banning away 2 comfort picks in Odin and Willish, and then immediately picking Chaotic Purposes' signature god in this Susano, taking it away from him, handing it over to Caden.
Not a bad idea here, though, to respond. Having top, a lot of mobility for him, being able to dash through those walls, great distance cover, not to mention the stun effect. Susano's going to be trying to find the pulls over the top, but could be some interesting response times for Covey.
And Apollo for Transonics. Really thought we might see the Thor to try and lock in Chaotic Purposes God before the second banning phase. Could be a lot of junglers coming off the board here in the second banning phase if they so choose. Chunga and Hell both banned away by my guys. Those are both bans for the mid laner, as is that Jean Kui and the Zeus. All 4 bans at Brochacho's former teammate Shaliber.
Wow, really trying to focus out that mid laner. Surprising to see my guys just focus so much resources at one player so far. I would expect them after those 4 bans, maybe my guys just camps Shaliber right off the bat.
Could be. Isis going to be the selection. I thought he'd go to his Scylla that he seemed to be pretty comfortable on, but I think my guys may have wanted that, trying to give a little bit of pressure to that Thoth in the middle lane. Either way, Soar with a pretty heavy pressure composition early on here. Totally, you got Chalk, Isis, Sylvanas in the early game. Susano brings excellent damage in the early game, and Medusa, she can do it all game long.
And not to mention the early game pressure that they bring. They still have a lot of utility behind their draft. Susano can easily get out of danger once he engages, finding the pulls, trying to set up Shaliber playing this Isis. Now the question is it going to work into fruition? Can they catch my guys out of position? But Thor now being onto Chaotic Purpose, that's a lot of great counter engage mechanics, especially with Transonics playing this Apollo.
And this jungle composition for my guys is phenomenal across the board. You can't really have anyone from Soar walking in that jungle and feeling safe. Look at how many people get caught by the walls, not only from Chaotic Purpose, but from Brochacho on this Ymir. It's only Chalk that can get through those walls, and he needs 2 abilities to do it. That being said, a little bit of a switch up for Soar. Stormy Rays returning to his solo lane, yielding that support over to the Medieval Doc, who was in the solo lane for them previously. So same 5 players, just a little bit of a switch up.
Normally, you don't see that kind of swap happen very often, but, you know, going closer and closer to the end of the split, it's not a bad idea just to see what kind of works out. This is going to be a very difficult matchup for Soar Gaming against the undefeated my guys, and if this is what's going to help them bring over the W, I'm okay with this.
Well, Medieval and Stormy still both together in the solo lane. Maybe Medieval misses it and decided to start over here. Caden and Shaliber in the mid lane should get the pressure over top of the Thoth. Thoth brings a lot to the table, totally, but early clear is not on his repertoire.
Trying to assist the early clear is El Brochacho, but like we mentioned before, this Isis Susano is just too much to handle. Now going for the speed buff, but looking like they're going to get collapsed on underneath. Brochacho is only level 1, though, doesn't have the freeze.
I love this pathing, though, from Brochacho. He knows where Caden's going to go and is able to find him, and 3 members are around, but Caden's level 2. Doesn't matter. First blood goes the way of Wolves, picking it up and punishing Caden for daring to walk into his jungle.
This is why these are my guys over here, being able to just separate themselves positionally. They knew their speed buff is getting invaded, and they're not done yet, forcing the meditation. Wolves just on fire with this Osiris, still getting off a lot of poke, trying to zone Stormy Rays away from some very important experience in this early laning phase.
I swear, Wolves characters have more health and do more damage than everyone else. It's not fair, dude. On the right side, again, the invade is about to happen for my guys, trying to answer back and get Chaotic Purpose. The enemy speed buff, which always tastes a little bit sweeter than that of your own. Wolves gonna ding level 3 as he picks up the enemy blue. Covey left alone in the mid, but no real aggression onto him from Soar. allowing him to free farm, and my guys strip the enemy right side jungle.
A lot of momentum already for my guys. Not even 2 minutes in stripping away the life out of Kaden, the buffs away from his right-hand side. It's going to also impact the soul lane matchup quite heavily here. Still struggling now. Stormy Ray still at level 2, whereas Wolves sitting pretty at level 3. This is the point in time where Osiris, with a little bit of a lead, can just run away with it, trying to push the minions under the tower, stripping more gold away.
Well, Trans and Zaxi have been left alone entirely on this left side, and for me, totally, I think that favors Transonics. The Apollo a little bit stronger in the late game than that of the Medusa.
Yeah, also going for more sustain option, having Deathtoll and the tier 1 of the Devourer Gauntlets, looking like he'll wait for his right timing for the boxing ability. Zaxi's going to also have to figure out if he wants to finish off the Transcendence or go in for either the Warrior Tabby or the Ninja Tabby.
We've seen both sides of the coin, really, at least through the last week of the SPL on the PC side of things. Barracuda would seem to favor finishing off his boots before the Transcendence, whereas Zapman in their matchup up against Eager and Luminosity, he was favoring the Transcendence before the boots. So Zaxi could really go either way, but Transonics definitely signaling that he's playing for the mid to late game by going for an early Devo Gauntlets.
Not only that, there will be a small power spike play, whereas Transonics will finish out Devo Gloves and his boots before Zaxi can finish off Transcendence and his boots, and that could be that point in time where Transonics will look for these boxing exchanges, as he'll have more physical power, especially before those Transcendence stacks really come online.
And that's due to the fact that Devourer's Gauntlet's a little bit cheaper than that of Transcendence. What Transcendence really does provide is a ton of mana and a ton of power, but you definitely have to pay for it, literally. It costs quite a bit of gold. My guys have not tried to force any other fights, and I don't really blame them. They've got an interesting balanced composition here, Toli. They've got early game on the right with Wolves and Brochacho to some degree on this Ymir, and then mid to late game with this Thoth and Apollo on the left-hand side of the map.
Stormy Ray is still taking a lot of punishment on the right-hand side. He has teleport to be able to get back into the thick of things, and surprisingly enough, looking at his consumables, he went for the Mana Chalice as a chalk player. Now, normally, whether or not you do have your blue buff, as long as you can get those 5 stacks, the next ability that you cast will be free, but the question is, are you going to be able to hit minions to generate the stacks of your passive, whereas Wolves is just going to be constantly beating on you, trying to outtrade you?
That's true. I mean, you're not going to be able to walk up to those minion waves. You kind of have to just throw those axes from a distance. Still a little bit of a curious pickup, I would say. How do you feel about these reinforced Greaves right after that Mana Chalice?
Trying to still be more resilient here. He's going to be lacking a lot of damage from the combination of his Axe, Torrent. So once he does make these rotations, he's not going to be able to really blow up Covey in the team fights, but he's going to be able to survive at least more poke in the laning phase.
Another invade on the right, but a nice double pull out of Kaden. May have secured that blue buff, and the cavalry has arrived. Spirit Ball not going to find a home, though, from Shalibur. Nice wall out of Chaotic Purpose. Deters the push coming out of Soar. So blue buff does fall. Can't exactly tell who it went to, but nice job getting out 2v4 there.
Zaxi forced into the Purification Beads, as well as the ultimate, trying to catch the Mez as Transonics. Nice little timing there, but barely able to escape with his life. Zaxi forced into 2 very long, important cooldowns just to survive.
Brochacho shows face and gets rewarded for it on that right. Kaden just trying to secure his own speed buff. Chaotic Purpose and Wolves seem to have no issues going in 2v4 if necessary, but Soar are able to secure those Fire Giant Elementals on the right, trying to get Stormy Rays back into this lane at least a little bit. A level lead for both the solo laner and the jungler so far for my guys.
And this is going to be more than a level lead, because Stormy Rays just now hits level 7 as Wolves goes back into the lane at level 8. Oh, unfortunate interaction there between that jet stream, getting clipped by that Thorwall, not able to go back into the mid lane, trying to potentially find a pull.
In either way, that Soar, they do have that sustain coming out of Medieval on this Sylvanas, so they're willing to trade a little bit of poke, and both teams have excellent poke. The Thor, obviously one of the better assassins in terms of poking out the enemy because of that little combination right there. As Kaden teleports in, Transonics going up into the air. There's the final judgment, but it doesn't find a home. Brochacho falling low, but Trans cleans up Kaden. Explosion never happens as Brochacho falls before he could detonate the shards of ice. Pull not there, but Stormy around the backside.
Brochacho not one to be shy from sacrificing his life for the greater good, sacrificing a support for a jungler, heavily favoring my guys, especially especially with Chaotic Purpose being the direct beneficiary on this Thor, trying to get more levels against the Susanoo is going to have that more burst damage. Once he starts maxing out his abilities, he's going to start continuing to hold hand in hand with Covey, trying to find the long distance setup stun, and this is where the damage is just going to start going out of control.
And Transonics, he's the one who picks up that kill, getting an extra 5 stacks onto his Devo gloves. Very, very important for the Hunter, who's already above 40 stacks, over halfway done stacking that item that usually takes quite some time to complete, but we're sitting at 7 minutes and he's almost there. In fact, he's already got his Ninja Tab right there with it.
And not only that, Zaxi not able to finish off his Transcendence. The Power Spike has been completed for Transonics, trying to, we'll see if he's going to elect to now start to play aggressive with that huge Power Spike play. Only tier 2 on the Transcendence as Zaxi just now backs to base.
But with Zaxi staying in that lane and getting that a little bit of extra farm as Transonics ulted into that engagement on the left side Harpies, it does allow Zach to get a little bit more ahead in that lane, or really catch up to that lead that Transonics had earned for himself. Trans is sitting right at the top of the net worth chart. Stormy Ray's in a bit of trouble on this right side, but those reinforced Greaves certainly coming into play, making sure he's safe and sound. Shaliber pops the circle of protection. He was so worried about that final judgment, but Covey never fired it. Brochacho going to take a decent amount of damage, but by Chaotic Purpose looking for the stun. Can't find Kaden, who finds a nice 2-man knockup with a Typhoon. Brochacho very, very low, trying to juke around, but can't juke out the axe from his former teammate. Stormy Rays cleans up Brochacho.
Really wanted the kill onto Shaliber there. Covey's gonna, no, the stun not on the mark by Shaliber through the wall, but diving the back on Kaden, gonna find it this time. 2-0 for Soar. They're still not done yet. They want to check to see if these buffs are up.
But they aren't yet. Well, that's blue buff's almost up on the right, but speed buff pretty far away. Transonics comes from far away to dunk down onto Shaliber, but the meditation, the knock up, and is good. Medieval saves the life of his mid. Wolves looking for it, but Shaliber still alive, juking between 5 members of his team. Zaxi picks up the second kill there onto Wolves, and Soar jump ahead to a 5-2 lead.
The baits were real. Great meditation patience on the side of Soar, trying to get this tier 1 tower to respawn. Brochacho has revived, but a great pull into the Petrify, taking the life of the support player. Tier 1 mid's gonna fall as well.
One by one, the My Guys conveyor belt. First Transonics, then Wolves, then Brochacho. None able to find that low health chicken in his Shaliber. All 3 fall. Soar get the 3 kills and the tier 1 tower, and that catapults them up. That's almost a 2,000 gold swing, Toli.
Just too aggressive on the right-hand side of the jungle without the full force from My Guys. They went in by 2 players at first. You know, Brochacho was in conjunction with Covey trying to find the combination, but being relatively patient, not throwing out the final judgment during the freeze, but instead waiting to throw it out without any sort of setup, so he misses that opportunity. And then Chaotic Purpose, he was taking a lot of damage. He misses his ultimate, so just a little bit of lack of execution by My Guys.
Shaliber is just the target practice right now. As you mentioned, 4 bans, all targeted at the mid laner for Soar, and My Guys seem pretty clear intent on knocking him down, but sitting at 0-0 and 5, he's survived thus far.
Doing a great job utilizing that circle of protection. No hesitation to throw that one out onto the battlefield. Kaden gonna get stunned out. The double tap not on the mark because of the diminishing returns.
And almost there for Chaotic Purpose. The wall was just on the other end of Kaden. If he's able to place that tectonic rift between the jungler and his tower, could have been a clean return kill there for My Guys. Either way, good poke onto the jungler, but Medieval has done a great job of sustaining up his teammates thus far. All this poke has not really ended up in nothing thus far for My Guys, only with 2 kills on the board.
Another important fact to take note of between diminishing returns is the fact that you don't always have to throw out this stun. It's actually going to use the ultimate just to poke out Transonics, but having the Devil Gloves at 70 stacks, that's a lot of lifesteal for this Apollo Hunter, and with a wave right here at his disposal, he's not really too worried about that ultimate being expended.
No, Trans just gets a heal up off the wave. Zaxi, I like the idea of playing aggressive, knowing Transonics beads were on cooldown. Not able to find it. Chaotic Purpose finds a nice double tap in that mid lane, but no full commit there. Not enough range on Brochacho. Covey certainly has enough range to follow up on whatever Chaotic Purpose is going to be doing. The Thoth basically is as long distance as it gets.
And this is why we see the difference of the itemization between these two mid laners. Going for a more glass cannon style is Covey, utilizing that range and his aggressive front line. We see how aggressive My Guys was, dying one by one earlier on, whereas Shaliber knows he's going to be the receiving end of a bad time. Going for that early Dynasty plate helmet not only is going to keep him alive, but also gives him a little bit more penetration. Not to mention the fact that once he uses that silence, it also strips away some of that magical protection.
Zaxi not allowing Transonics into this wave, just blocking off the Hunter from the farm. Transonics not too worried about that farm. Wanted to take the trade into Zaxi, but the console veteran will allow the other console veteran to get back into the lane as Soar sneak away an easy Gold Fury. No one from My Guys even on the screen when that one falls. That pushes their lead up above 2,000 gold.
Despite Zaxi not being at that Gold Fury, which is why probably My Guys didn't respect the potential of the Gold Fury, there's always a circle of protection that's going to help you secure that Gold Fury. So you don't necessarily always need your Hunter there on these objectives.
Well, either way, even without their Hunter, Soar get it without much worry. On the right side, though, Wolves takes this opportunity to push down that tier 1 tower. It's very low, but he recognizes there's a storm coming. Everyone from Soar trying to get over and punish the aggressive solo laner for pushing up so far, but the quick reaction is enough to get Wolves out of danger. Red buff being invaded by My Guys, trying to take at least something away from Soar, who have really taken it to this super team that we've seen so far. This is I think this is the most that My Guys have been behind in quite some time.
I wouldn't be surprised, though, if they still stall this game out and try to look for some more tools at their disposal between both of the walls from Ymir and from the Thor Covey, though.
Nowhere to go. He's got no mid tower, and he's down immediately. Purification beads didn't even matter. Covey takes his second spill of the game. And Soar, again, the CC is just too strong for My Guys to really handle. We saw it earlier, the Wind Siphon into the Spirit Ball, into the Petrify. That time they only need the Wind Siphon and Spirit Ball, but it's enough to get yet another kill. Pull onto Brochacho, Medieval with the knockup, but the rest of the team was on a different page. They were all disengaging after the objective.
And now the wall cutting off his escape path, not having the CC immunity, diving the backline is Kaden onto Chaotic Purpose, but that's a level 12 Thor with Hydra's Lament, going to be doing a lot of damage back in return. But Wolves, though, forcing out the meditation of Medieval Dog.
He's 1v3, jumps away, still gets knocked up by that Typhoon, and Medieval gonna pick him up. Circle of Protection dropped. Chaotic Purpose able to get out of danger before Shaliber pops it, but it heals up the 4 other members of Soar. Double freeze from Brochacho, but he body blocks himself on the frozen enemies, and Shaliber gets some revenge on his former support. 9-2 now, Soar in control.
This is not very common for My Guys to be losing these encounters at such a rapid fashion, just one by one. You know, the engage was relatively good for My Guys, despite Medieval Dog finding the pull. Because of that disconnect and using the ultimate so early, My Guys felt very confident being able to take that fight, but they are down quite a little bit in terms of the relic department. The second relic was available for Medieval Dog. They're not necessarily needed in that encounter because of the circle of protection, just negating too much damage, and not to mention the heal on top.
Shaliber level 13, 2-0-6. He's third on his team in player damage and has been right there to control the enemy all along. And that's basically all you want your Isis to do. Clear the wave early on, CC and let everyone else do the damage for you, and control the Gold Fury and Fire Giant with that ultimate.
You know, Toth can cover a lot of distance, but so can the jungler out of Soar. Kaden playing the Susanoo has the Jetstream and a lot of mobility, but not too much mobility for Wolves. Instead, using all the mobility going back to the graveyard.
Kaden, level 13, right up against level 13 Wolves. That lead that he had earlier on is completely gone. Kaden able to put him down. Kaden now in some trouble, though, to Brochacho. Found a nice freeze. Chaotic Purpose up in the sky. Cannot find the stun. On to Shaliber, and the rest of Soar makes Covey pay for that engagement. Chaotic Purpose pulled back in, knocked up, Circle of Protection used, but not enough damage there from Shaliber. Either way, 2 dead now for My Guys. Transonics is on an island over on that left-hand side. Zaxi's job has just been to keep Transonics in lane. Do not let him get into these fights because Soar is winning the 4v4s.
You know, Transonics could make the rotation and look to tip the scales for My Guys' favor, but if he leaves that lane, Zaxi's going to be able to strip away the tier 1 tower, and this is the point in time that a level 16 Medusa has the physical power to get the tier 2 as well.
pull onto Brochacho, locked down. Shaliber able to put number 3 up for himself in that kill column. Great wall out of Chaotic Purpose, but the 2-man stun out of Shaliber is better to stop the Berserker barrage. Wolves once more trying to dive down Shaliber, but the peel is great. Tommy, if you've heard that one before, Kaden saves the life of his mid laner, number 13, as FNOT would say, unlucky 13. Unlucky right now for my guys, who are down 11 kills in the kill column. 4K gold as well.
My guys is just playing into Soar's hand completely. The defensive peels, like you mentioned, has just been on point from Soar between the engages, the disengages, not to mention the meditations that have just been so clutch by both Stormy Rays and Medieval Doc, keeping their squishies alive. And don't forget, Wolves had a great encounter during that tier 2 on the right-hand side, finding 3 people with Lord of the Afterlife. Soul Laner's eyes just wide open whenever that opportunity presents themselves. You're almost have to kind of take that, hoping that the damage between yourself and the damage from a Thor in even a 2v3 encounter should go your way.
And even despite that, though, Wolves is still only level 13. He's taken 2 deaths since he dinged this 13 number. Not able to be that frontline tanky Osiris that Osiris really likes to be. We've seen so much success out of Osiris as of late on both the console and the PC, but here you see where Osiris can fall a little bit short. If he doesn't get an early lead, can be difficult, or if he loses an early lead. Gold Fury was leashed there by Soar in response to Chaotic Purpose going up into that Anvil of Dawn. Soar is completely happy to just continually bait my guys in, because my guys, they've been taking the food. Transonics gonna get up and go across the sky. He's done with this team fight. He doesn't want to fight anybody. He's just going to head over to that right-hand side and pick up any available farm.
Surprised that they don't go for the Fire Giant with that ultimate, but going back in, Wolves diving the backline. Transonic still in the sky, waiting for the right timing. Typhoon and the Petrify Medieval Dog with a Wrath of Terror. A lot of ultimates being expended. Circle of Protection in the backline, they're getting a lot of damage, but a nice freeze into the Final Judgment. Zaxxy has to run away.
But Transonics is completely out of mana. The autos are enough to put the first death into Shaliber. Stormy Rays still frontlining. Nice wall and double tap. Stormy teleports back into the teeth of my guys and will pay for it. Double for Transonics in this team fight. Kaden has to use the Purification Beads. The wall just a little bit too late, but the Hieroglyphic Assault reaches the jungler. Covey puts up number 3 in this team fight for my guys, who take it hand over fist. The Gold Fury next for them.
Zaxxy, though, he's around the corner. He could look for a steal with Medieval Doc. The wall has come out. The Gold Fury does get secured by my guys. They're still trying to chase down. Medieval Doc has nowhere to go after that tether stun. He's going to be slowed indefinitely here.
He's gone. Totally nowhere for that immobile tree to go. Transonics, number 4 in the kill column. 4 out of the 6 in the Hunter's pocket. And my guys, look at that just cataclysmic drop in that gold lead. Now, basically, even after this tier 1 tower, it's going to be back in my guy's favor.
All it took was one ultimate onto Zaxxy. Didn't kill him, but it was good enough to get him out of the team fight to allow a 5-on-4 for my guys for the remainder of it.
And that's all set up by the 3-man freeze by Brochacho. The Final Judgment only hit Zaxxy, I believe, but it's enough to really send that engagement. Big Spirit Ball chunks Covey down. Wolves continues to be this front line despite not having those levels that he really wants in this engagement. Stormy Rays to teleport it in, trying to dissuade my guys from doing the Fire Demon portal, and did just that. No objective this time around for my guys, who may be forced to just give this one up.
Could have potentially looked to stop the teleport in. It was only Covey hitting it, but in the sky's Chaotic Purpose, waiting for that right timing. Transonics baiting himself a little bit. Chaotic Purpose forcing out the beads out of Shaliber, but he's using beads of himself just to disengage.
Petrify only hits Wolves. Great wall out of Chaotic Purpose. Stops the chase in from that Lacerate. Transonics, though, he's isolated on this right-hand side. No beads.
No way.
No way. Meditation. No, not enough. Kaden still cleans up the Hunter, but that was almost the most insane escape of 2017.
I'm actually speechless. The fact that that almost worked for Transonics being able to get away, but regardless, finding that one pick onto my guy. Circular Protection being used just to secure the Portal Demon. Final Judgment a little bit too late there. Nice Spirit Ball into Chaotic Purpose, but taking the win, gonna reset here, slowing down the pace of the game.
Shaliber definitely looking more and more comfortable on Isis as the game goes on. Saw the long-range Spirit Ball onto Covey hit him for over 600 damage. That's about half a mage's health pool. at the 20-minute mark.
And Shaliber is one of these momentum-based players. He has a lot of confidence whenever he gets an early comfortable lead, but if he ever gets on the worser end of the receiving things, then he's going to play a little bit more sloppy. And I think My Guys was relying too heavily on that factor.
Well, My Guys are still in this game despite finding an early deficit, where really the early lead was in My Guys' favor. Soar wrenched it away from them with some great play in the middle stages. My Guys has managed to even it up, but Soar certainly not done fighting back into the undefeated top seed out of North America, who many expect to take the SCL Spring Finals at LAN, at least the preliminary projections. Look at this positioning out of Soar. They have no idea, My Guys, where they are heading. Covey, he's already done. He's already dead. Caden puts up number 6, 15 now on the board for Soar. Two-man dunk comes down from Chaotic Purpose, but just not enough damage. Two-man knockup coming out of Medieval. Chaotic Purpose getting thrown around like a rag doll. Meditation comes out from Brochacho. The wall's good as well, but Shaliber is not deterred. Spirit Ball connects for the last kill there on the Chaotic Purpose. Wolves trying to run away. Lord of the Afterlife is enough to get him away from Soar, who continues to march down this right-hand side.
What a play by Shaliber. That max distance Spirit Ball connecting onto Chaotic Purpose. I thought he was going to be free there for a second with a hot wall from El Brochacho. No pun intended there. Being able to barely get away. However, securing that additional kill, 2 for nothing with a tier 2 tower. Soar still slowly climbing with a 3,000 goal lead.
And again, Zaxy's just holding, he's just the ball and chain to Transonics right now. Trans knows he can't make these rotations without fear of losing some objectives on the left. Trans does rotate over to the middle lane, pick up a wave there, but immediately forced to head back on this left-hand side to stop the push out of Zaxy.
Trying to do so currently, though. Red buff is available for Zaxy. Ultimates as well. The damage output from this Medusa could be a factor, but the Fatalis difference between Transonics and Zaxy. Zaxy not very confident in taking that engagement.
You know Transonics is confident with Fatalis. He's been building it since he came into the Xbox League way back when. He was always a proponent of this item before its significant buff here in Season 4. No, I don't think anyone on Earth was more excited to see a Fatalis buff than Transonics.
Absolutely not, especially considering that the Apollo will have more attack speed once that Audacity has been procced. Despite Zaxy having more mobility as he moves side to side or backwards with the Medusa passive, the boxing exchange will favor Transonics with the Fatalis, which is why you see Zaxy just kind of waited out a little bit before the Golfia respawns. The team fights heavily favoring Soar here with the sustain options coming from Medieval Doc.
A dunk onto Shaliber. Chaotic Purpose comes out of nowhere with that one, but he's gonna go nowhere. Shaliber turns it around with the help of Medieval Doc and puts down Chaotic Purpose. Brochacho forced to go on the run. Caden doesn't have that wind siphon, but the Typhoon's good enough to lock down the support. Knocked up, stunned, and killed. Caden 7, 3, and 10 for the jungler. Covey trying to get away. The stun not gonna hit, and he is petrified. Zaxy 3-0-3 for the Hunter. Wolves again. Shaliber so accurate with these Spirit Balls, locks down Wolves long enough to force him into that Lord of the Afterlife. Tier 2 towers get a fall in mid, but Transonics does get 1,500 gold in response for My Guys.
I like what Chaotic Purpose did to start off the engagement, trying to force the purification beads out of Shaliber, but a nice turnaround play as he silences the Thor player right before the teleport of the hammer connects, and not respecting that potential CC was Chaotic Purpose. He doesn't elect to use the beads of himself, couldn't get out of danger, and that cost him the life.
Well, Fire Giant's going to be taken here by Soar, but Gold Fury is going to go the way of My Guys, trying to get themselves at least a little bit closer towards this late game. Covey has had some struggles this game, Toli. 1, 5, and 4 compared to Shaliber's 5, 1, and 10. I think I'm comfortable saying that this is the best we've seen Shaliber look in the spring split.
Absolutely. The momentum that he's gotten because of all the meditation peels that he's received, as well as the sustain from Medieval Doc, the knockups, just being able to position himself very accordingly from the aggression from My Guys. It was almost like a Venus flytrap that Soar kind of set up with this Isis pick.
And they're absolutely falling for it right now is My Guys. They probably thought they were in the clear, banning away 4 mages and picking another from Shaliber, but certainly proving My Guys wrong and potentially proving a lot of fans wrong here. If they're able to close out this victory, give My Guys their first loss of the spring split. This could definitely, I mean, we were talking about how much of a confidence builder Return may have after finding a 2-0 victory right before LAN. How about handing My Guys their first loss in months right before LAN?
There's an opposite side to the coin, you know, despite a team being 2-0, can have a lot of confidence, Soar, and maybe Return Gaming. But on the other side, my guys, they've been through a lot of LAN experience between them, so I don't necessarily expect them to affect them too much, even if they lose this set 0-2.
Transonics committing to that tier 2 tower, but Stormy Ray is doing his best to body block those shots. Left side Phoenix being sieged up. Chaotic Purpose, he's waiting for the dunk, trying to find the target and hit Shaliber. Full combo onto the mid laner, but it's not enough to kill him. Circle of Protection's dropped, and Chaotic Purpose now forced to run away. Typhoon, not quite enough to knock him down. He survives with 1 HP, but Wolves still in the front line all alone. Gets the meditation from his team, actually gave that meditation from his team and got one himself.
Trying to still hold the left side. Phoenix is successful. Zaxi with a nice stun, forcing the purification beats. Wolves getting pulled out of that. Phoenix has to disengage, is very low, but the zoning from Brochacho is going to prevent everyone else from really engaging.
Oh, the pull from Medieval's beautiful. The wall's decent there. Kobe almost just got one shot by that Spirit Ball. He's going to be forced back to base.
Transonics is in the sky. He wants to go in and look for the cleanup potentially. Everyone from my guys is going to be healthy. Yes, Transonics actually using that defensively rather to get away from Stormy Rays.
Chaotic Purpose eats another big Spirit Ball out of Shaliber. Stormy Rays has completed his job of defending that tier 2 tower, and now he wants to fight on the left. Teleports in. Chaotic Purpose has the ultimate as Brochacho's pulled back in. Nice dunk out of Chaotic Purpose. Zaxi falling very, very low, but it's able to get that Aegis off. Left side Phoenix still stands at 1 HP. Stormy trying to knock it down with the axe, and he will do just that. Somehow, no kills so far in this engagement.
Typhoon being used defensively, doing a lot of damage. Stormy Ray gets deleted. Finally, the first victim, Shaliber, not connecting on the Spirit Ball. The Aegis was used. Transonics, though, he's with the Fatalis trying to find some more kills.
Zaxy's able to clean up Wolves on the backside, but Transonics still wanting to push forward. Kobe, evade and punish, doesn't quite reach over the wall. Trans forced to dash away after using the purification beads. All 4 members have this Fire Giant. Transonics continues to want to fight, but the sustain out of the Sylvanas, the long-range Spirit Ball, sets it up for Caden once more. Kobe already has his dash down. The rest of Soar chasing down the mid laner. Great wall out of Brochacho into the 3-man freeze, but Kobe still going to fall to Caden. 9 on the board for the jungler. Brochacho pulled back in as well.
Trying to hold on for as long as he possibly can. Get stunned out yet again by Shaliber. What turned into be a great hold originally, finally collapsing on its head. It looks like Soar, they set themselves up for a small window to get this Titan.
There it is. They're trying to take the first game off my guys. Shaliber cleans up Transonics. Wolves is respawned, but I don't think it's going to be enough, Totally, and it won't. Soar take the first game of the split off of my guys.
I think that the key victory here, or the